In this primer series on debt today, we're going to talk about how banks and lenders assess your debt situation and our mental model for how you should think about taking on new debt.
If you're over levered, which means you have too much debt, which means you have a higher ETI or DETI number, while you may be able to meet your regular payment obligations, it's actually more likely that you're going to struggle to accumulate savings or to start to build money in a way that generates wealth. And that's because so much of your money is going to servicing and paying for debts or expenses. You'll also face issues likely if you don't already have bigger loans like a mortgage loan or an auto loan. You'll face issues getting those loans if you already have a high DTI because they're worried that any of that money or those payment obligations will tip you over the line into a place where then you're struggling to make payments. So it's really important to understand how leveraged you are and understand how folks on the other side of the table are assessing that.
Okay, so now let's get into a quick example. So for this example, we're going to use Susan. So let's say Susan makes $60K a year or the equivalent of $5K per month. Susan's total debts and expenses total to $1,500 each month. That's across her car payment, mortgage, any credit cards, etc. And it's important that you make sure that you're utilizing all debts and all expenses in order to calculate this. Let's take that $1,500 for each month and divide it by the $5,000 in income for the month, and we'll get 0.3 or 30%. Okay, so note that we use gross income here as opposed to income after taxes to align with what banks and creditors use. And so now let's get into whether 30 is actually good or bad.
Our philosophy now is that you should target having an ETI of 30 or less with 25 or less going to your mortgage. There's three reasons. First reason is simple. We are not in this to make you more attractive to lenders. We want you to actually be operating from a position of financial strength so that you can actually start to do the things that will help you to grow and accumulate wealth. The second reason is that there is a benefit to developing this type of financial discipline. So being able to actually develop a discipline of living below your means and generating more capital that you can use for other things is a great way to consistently drive the change you want to see in your outcomes. And the third thing here is that really matters is that it puts you in a position of financial strength should you need to access capital fast. Cash is very, very expensive when you need it in a short timeline and you have a bad ETI or DTI ratio. That's when you get into payday lending and other predatory things that charge a higher interest rate. All of that is going to go to interest and keep you further in debt. So being in a position of financial strength when you need cash in a short period of time actually helps you get cash on more favorable terms and reduces that expense.